everybody, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video and the first episode in my knitting podcast. So my name is Sydney, and I started knitting this year in 2023, probably around June or July, and I've been crocheting since maybe around middle school. And I went back and forth with it. I started sewing a little bit before the pandemic. I worked at a fabric store, so I started sewing then. And then I started quilting, and my most recent interest has been knitting. So I love the feeling of crocheting. I love the therapeutic nature of it and the, meditativeness of it. How you can just like back and forth, and it's the same with knitting. And so I decided to just go ahead and get started with learning that. If you see me looking over, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Let me just go ahead and say I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to work my camera. I got it from my sister, but we're just gonna try. Because I love hobbies. I love creating things with my hands. I love, hobbies have such a, such a positive impact on your mental health. And the past few years, I've been all about working on my mental health and on a self-love journey and just trying to find out who I am as a person. I'm 25, and I feel like that's what your 20s are about, just finding who you are as a person. So I decided to, make more time for my hobbies, and I want this channel to be a place where I can share my hobbies, new things that I'm working on, and what I'm really interested in right now is knitting. So that's going to be what I'm going to do. So, let's check and see. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around, like this video, subscribe, and let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions or any video ideas or even any constructive criticism, but be kind, because I have a gentle heart. But yeah, so we're going to get started. Get yourself a nice beverage. This is my new fall mug. It's a Spice Baby. I've got some tea in here. This is the Good Earth brand, Sweet and Spicy Original. It's caffeine free. This stuff is so good. It tastes like cinnamon and orange. Yeah, it tastes like cinnamon and orange and something else. It's kind of sweet, even without adding any sweetener or anything to it, which is nice. So, get yourself a beverage. I like to put knitting podcasts on in the background while I'm sewing or doing something with my hands. So, yeah, let me know what you're doing while you're listening to this. Are you just watching? Are you knitting? Are you making something else? I'd love to know. So, I think we're going to start. We're going to go ahead and start with my finished projects. And let me just let you know, like I said, I've started knitting earlier this year, so a lot of these were my first ever of the kind. So, keep that in mind. But I'm sure there's going to be many more fun things to come. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you today is this knitted pumpkin. You can see the little fuzzy. This is a stick from my backyard. I should have put a bigger one. I probably will. But it's a nice little pumpkin, and it's squishy. I put leftover fabric scraps and thread in here just to fill it up because I didn't want to use my polyfill. I'll use that for something else. So yeah, this is really squishy. It's big. I made some little ones for my friends. I made them a little fall basket and made them little teeny ones. But this I used this Yarn Bee. This is from Hobby Lobby, alpaca twist, and I got this on their clearance sale. So this was $1.07, and I got like 6 balls of it. So I don't think you can get it anymore, but they still have this alpaca twist. They just don't have this orange color. But this yarn is so nice and fuzzy and soft. Let's see, it's 90% acrylic and 10% alpaca, and it's a worsted weight. I held it double for this, and I think I used maybe like a 10 millimeter or a 9 point something. And I followed a YouTube tutorial loosely. I didn't follow it exactly, but it's supposed to look kind of rustic. I like that it looks kind of rustic. You can kind of see. Yeah. It's cute. It's a cute little pumpkin. It's actually big. Like, you probably can't see. I have big hands, but it's a big pumpkin. The size of my head. A little smaller. But yeah, so that's my first thing that I'm going to show you. And then, this is a recent finish that I was so happy about. This is my first ever knitted hat. I'll show you. My decreases are wonky, so don't judge me. And this I made out of Lion brand Wool Ease in the color Umber, and I used 1 full skein, and I almost ran out, but I had just a tiny bit left. And let me just tell you, whenever people do their knitting podcasts, my hair is sticking out. It's like one little piece. Oh well. Whenever they do their knitting podcast and they show hats, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I'd love to make one. But then they don't put it on their head most of the time. And like, I want to see what it looks like on your head. So I'll show you what it looks like on my head. I have a big head, but you know. I guess I should, hold on, let me turn it. Yeah. Wear it like this with like a little bit of it poking up, or you can smash it down and, you know. I wore it yesterday with a green sweater, not this one, but with a green sweater, and I went to coffee with my friend, and it was nice, and I felt special because I had my hand knit hat on. This is a wool and acrylic blend. It's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. So if you want a warm winter hat, this is the yarn for you. If you're trying to stay on budget-friendly yarn, which I definitely am. You'll notice a lot of my yarn is from like the big box yarn, like from the Hobby Lobby or Joann's or whatever. Because nice yarn, like, well, it's still nice yarn, but like really, really good yarn is expensive. I don't have the funds for that. So, you know, hopefully one day I can make, I should just start myself a yarn fund. That's what I need to do. I need to start myself a yarn fund because I'm gonna keep buying yarn. I just am. If you're a crafter, you know, I was the same way with fabric. I was gonna buy fabric, whether I should or I shouldn't. So maybe that's a problem, but you know. So anyway, I think I used a 3.75 millimeter needle for this, a 16-inch circular needle, and yeah, it's worsted weight, and yeah, it was nice. I love ribbing. I mean, it's fuzzy because it's been laying around, but yeah, it's ribbing is so fun to do. At least I think it is. I used to hate purling, but I like purling, and just like I was saying about it being, there's like a meditative nature to it. Just knit two, purl two, knit two, purl two. There's just something about it that is relaxing. and you can just do it without even looking, which I like. So that's my second thing. Let's see, what's the other thing I was going to show you? Oh, so, not yet. I won't show you that yet. I'll show you this. This is my first knit blanket. It's basically done. I just have to weave in the ends and fix a few mistakes. But this, see if I can show it to you. I have to fold it in half. Is a knit blanket for my nephew who turns 2 next month. I think it's a pattern from Lion brand. I found it on Ravelry, and I didn't follow it exactly. I think I did like maybe 200 stitches across, but it's got the nice garter border, and then it's all stockinette, so you have to purl. You have to do both. But like I said before, I like purling, and this is another one that you just sit and you just go back and forth, and the fact that it's variegated yarn, so there's all these stripes in it, and then I added more stripes. It actually makes it so fun. Like, what do the English say? It's very moreish, as in you just want to keep doing more. That's how I felt with this. Like anything with variegated yarn, like you just want to keep going because you want to see what color is going to knit up next. And this is like, it's so soft and drapey. It's like got some bounce to it, and it's squishy, and I know that he's gonna love it. I mean, he's only gonna be 2, so he'll love whatever Auntie makes him, but I made it big so that he can use it until he's hopefully until he's a big kid, and maybe it'll last a little bit longer. This yarn, where's this thing? Oh, so the main variegated color is Baby Bee, Sweet Delights, what does it say, Tricycle Time? Tricycle Time, I think is this color, the main color. And this is like a light DK, and it's 60% acrylic, 40% polyamide. But it's actually so soft. Probably because it's a baby yarn, but it's so soft and I love it. And I had all this yarn from when I crocheted all the time, and I'm trying not to spend, I know I just said that I'm gonna spend money on yarn, which I will, but I'm trying not to spend too much money on yarn, and especially when I started, because in the past I had a tendency to get really interested in a new hobby and then just like buy all the things for it. And you don't want to do that unless you know for sure that you're going to stick with it, because otherwise you just waste a bunch of money. So I made sure that I used all the yarn that I had. I still have a little bit more of all these colors, but I was so proud of myself when I went through my yarn stash and I was like, oh, I have yarn that I can use for this. And I think I only had to buy an extra one of these, the variegated one, because I think I already had like 2 or 1.5 or something that I used for another project. So yes, I just need to weave in the ends, but also I made a boo-boo on this blanket when I first started. Because this was my first big knit project. I think this is the biggest one I have actually so far. But I was knitting this, I think in the car on a road trip, and I set it down and I wasn't paying attention, and somehow, I'll show you, somehow I started knitting and then I like skipped half of like the whole row, and then I kept knitting on it. I don't know what I did, but there's a hole. see it through the back there. There's a hole there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white yarn. I have some in this same type of yarn, and I'm going to embroider a heart and close that up. And so he won't even know. I mean, he won't care, but I don't want it to unravel, so I'm going to put a little heart on there so he'll know it's made with love from his aunt, from his Auntie Sid. So yes, I am in love with this. I feel like I want to knit one for myself. I mean, it took a long time, but it's just so cozy and drapey, and I love it. And I think it calls for a 4mm needle, but I used a 4.25 on this, and it's nice. Like, I'll show you the stitches. Yeah, it's nice. I love it. So yeah, there's that for my nephew. And let's see what else. Oh, I finished a pair of socks a couple days ago. So this is my second pair of socks. I'm not going to show you the first one because they're on my feet, but the first one, I finished them. They looked great. And then once I wore them, I realized that I made them too big. I didn't think about negative ease. I didn't realize that. So, you know, you live and you learn. But, okay, funny story, actually. Well, so, I don't know if anyone else is like this when you first started knitting, or you first start any sort of craft. You get so excited about it that you just, like, whenever you finish something, you get such, what is the word? Dopamine. You get so much dopamine, and you're just so proud of yourself. So whenever I finished my first sock ever, I wore it on one foot. I just walked around in my slippers with one sock on, one sock off, because I was just so proud of myself that I was like, I just have to wear it. And so I did. I wore it, and then I finished the other one, and I got to wear both of them, and I was so proud of myself. But anyway, this, made some shorties. Look at this yarn. So this is 100% Peruvian. Wait, maybe it's not Peruvian. Maybe it's just 100% Highland wool. And the color is called Primary School. And this I got off of Etsy from a shop called Our Yarny World. And I think it was somebody who's experimenting with dyeing yarn. And I wanted to support that, because I love when people, you know, you just start trying out new hobbies and stuff. Like, you never know which new hobby is going to become your obsession. And they really are therapeutic. So yeah, so I bought this from her, and when I first started knitting with it, I didn't know how to feel, but now it kind of reminds me of like watercolor painting. Like, very pretty. And I did knit 2, purl 2, and a slip stitch heel with the gusset. I've tried to record this video like 5 times, and something keeps happening, but you know, we're just gonna do our best. I think last thing I was doing was showing my socks. I think I was showing telling you about them. They are, oh, I did a 12 row rib and a 2x2 rib, and then 8 stitches for the leg, and this was 72. So they fit, but this looks weird on my foot, and I'm not a fan. So after that, I decided to switch it up I'll show you that in a minute, but let me finish showing you my finished projects. Oh, I think that was the last thing. So I'll show you what I figured out. So once I finished those, I wore them. I loved them, but they're not perfect. So I started on a new project, and I got this yarn. It's kind of a mess right now. This is Knit Pick Stroll in the color Cider. And I got a yarn at Hobby Lobby because they have hand dyed 100% merino. And I decided to pick some up because they were on sale. So let's show you if I can get it to focus. It's got like blue and purple and pink and orange, brown. It's really pretty. Oh, I forgot to say that the Knit Pick Stroll is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. And then this one is 100% superwash wool, I think. Yeah. So, I don't know how great they're going to hold up, but I really liked these colors, and it was cheap. It was like 30% off. It was like $12 for the whole ball of it. How many grams? It's 100 grams, so yeah. So here's my sock that I'm making. I'm on the heel flap. I already did the heel flap. Now I'm on the gusset. And this time, I did 64 inches, or 64 stitches on a 2.25. And then for the leg and everything else, I switched to a 2.5. So I looked it up, and it said that that was probably the best thing to do to make sure that your ribbing stayed up, was to go from a smaller needle to a bigger needle. So, and I went to 64 stitches. And if these don't fit my foot, which I think they will, but if they don't, I'll just give them as a gift for someone. But I actually restarted these socks a couple times because I was not a fan of the way they were looking. I'll show you the first one. So the first one was, where is it? Oh, it's right here. I did the same thing, but I only did one stripe, and I got halfway through the heel, and I was like, I'm not a fan of these. And honestly, if you're not a fan of something, I don't think you're gonna wear it. At least for me, I don't think I would wear it if I wasn't like 100% in love with it. So I just decided to undo it. I was being lazy, but I was like, I'll just undo it. So I did, and now I've got this, and I love it. And the stroll is really like squishy and nice. And then those pretty colors. I love it. So I've got this one, and then this one is already a little bit through. I just have to pull back, frog it a little bit to do the second stripe. And at least I'm already done with the top half. So you gotta be not optimistic. What am I trying to say? You gotta look on the bright side. So yeah, I'm excited. I discovered that I really like knitting socks. The watercolor pair that I made, when did I cast those on? I cast them on the 12th of October, and then I finished them on the 17th. So it took me about 5 days on the 2.25 to finish them. Got this little basket. This is from I think it's from the Dollar General. It's a nice little wire basket to keep on your desk. Okay, this is looking orange, but I promise it's bright red. It's like a Christmas red. And I started making another hat because I wanted to make another of the Pearl Soho ones. And I didn't do any gauge type stuff. I just was like, let me just go for it. And I cast on the bigger size because I was like, oh, I have smaller needles. And this yarn is like a light DK, so it'll be fine. It turns out I was wrong, and I got this far through it before I realized it was way too big. So I have to take this apart, but I'm going to redo it. So hopefully next time I have a video, you'll see it partly through, unless I change my mind. I don't know. Yeah, so there's that hat, and that's on microfiber yarn. I can't remember if I told you about it, because I've redone this video like 4 times. So it is a Hobby Lobby Smooth Move microfiber yarn, and I got it on clearance for $1.37. I got a whole bunch of them. If you see my nails, they're like for Halloween, but they're looking crusty because I did them like 3 weeks ago, and Halloween is like next week. But I don't feel like redoing them, so whatever. And speaking of that microfiber yarn, that leads me to my only crochet item today. I used the microfiber yarn to make this blanket. It's mostly done, but I have to weave in the ends and I have to finish the top, like the last 2 rows or so. But it's microfiber yarn, and it's this like white cream, orange, tan brown, and then this like Tiffany blue. And you can probably hear the car out there, but it's pretty big. And this one was really fun to make, actually. I'll have to put the pattern down in the description because I can't remember what it's called. But I think it was the pattern from Daisy Farm Crafts. They have a lot of baby blankets, and I've made a few of their baby blankets before for family members and stuff. But I love this yarn. It's actually so squishy and nice, and I've heard it's a good alternative, like it's warm instead of using wool, but it is a man-made fiber, so it's not great for the environment. So, but it was on clearance, so I decided to buy it and try it out, and I'm so glad that I did because it's actually so nice. And like these colors together, I love them. It's very fall. I thought I was gonna have it done for fall, but I didn't. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. Like, I just want to like cover up with it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it or give it as a gift. We shall see. Cause like, I feel like this is like the type of blanket that you could take out every year at fall and just have on your couch and just like cozy up with. Cause it's so comfortable and the colors are pretty. I don't know. I'm going on and on, but I love it. Tell me what you think about these colors together. Are you a fan or not? Because I love them. But yeah. And my last, I think this is my last whip. This is a baby blanket. It's a corner to corner, started here, with another of the Sweet Delight prints. It's not this color. It's not the Tricycle Time. I don't know which one it is, but it's so pretty. It's like pink, yellow, gray, blue, white, and yeah, I just have one corner left. I've got it on the circulars, and this is a light DK, and I made it with a 4mm needle. So it's taken a while, but this is one of those that you just, like, I just keep it in a bag, and if I'm going on a road trip, I just take it with me and just knit in the car. But honestly, I love the colors. So pretty. I don't know about anybody else, but I like things that are pretty simple in color, but I love color, so I like to use colors for other people. Like if I'm gonna make a gift, like let me use something bright and colorful for you, but I don't really have anything bright and colorful. But maybe I should change that. I don't know. I'm not gonna wear anything that's bright and colorful unless it's socks. But a blanket or a hat, maybe, or mittens. I want to learn to make mittens. Yes. I want to make some like fingerless mitts. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What else did I have to show you? That might be everything. Oh, besides some sewing things. So, I just have my sock stuff in this Halloween bucket. My sister, we went to her house a few nights ago and we had like a fall girls night with me, my 3 sisters, and my mom. And she made us boo baskets in these little bins and we played games and ate food and it was fun. It was really nice. But I have, okay, this is not a new thing. I've had this for a while. This, I'll show you this fabric. It's really pretty. This is my favorite fabric that I have. And then I'll show you the inside. There's a plain. Look at this floral. So this was supposed to be a book cover that I was making. And I read the pattern wrong. I think it was at night. Let me know if anyone else does this. If you're trying to like follow a pattern at night, even if it's not hard, sometimes because you're just like tired, you end up really messing up. And so it was supposed to be like this much longer, but I cut it and I was like, you know what? It's already made. I'll just turn it into like a little project bag. So I have that. And then this one I just finished yesterday. Well, it was already mostly finished, but I finished the top stitching yesterday so that I could take it with me because I went, I can't remember if I told you or not, I went out to a coffee shop with one of my best friends and I wore my knit hat and I was like, I want to bring some socks to work on because I always bring something little to work on when I'm with her. She doesn't mind because we usually just sit and chat for a while. Those are the best type of friends that they don't care if you just want to knit while you talk. But I finished this little bag. So it's a little, it stands up and it's got little handles. And this, it's like a little channel. It's a drawstring bag, but I don't have ribbon in it right now because I need to pick one. But it's hand quilted. If it'll focus. Because I'm also into hand quilting. I don't do it a lot, but I do it occasionally. And I hand quilted the back. And then it's got the stitching. And the inside is just like this pink flower. I think those are tulips, maybe. And I've just got my ball of yarn in there. But it's like the perfect little size to just put like your little, I'll show you. Put my sock in there. Could put it on your wrist and just knit while you're walking. I actually went, there's a park near my house and my niece, my baby niece was over last night. She stayed the night. I kept her over in my room and my younger sister wanted to take her to the park down the road. So I walked with her and I just carried my little bag on my wrist and I knit my sock while I was walking. And it was great and I loved it. But yeah, I think this pattern is, I think it's the Kiko pouch. There's different sizes. This is like one of the smallest ones, but I'll link it below. But yeah, I love it. I have an Etsy shop where I sell different like pouches and stuff. So I don't know if I'm gonna post any of these or if I'll just make some for project bags for myself. I'm not sure, but I love it. I love the colors. Oh, and let me show you. So I use Knitter's Pride Zings for my socks, the 9-inch circulars, and a 2.25, so US 1, and a 2.5, US 1.5. And I love these. In the beginning, when I started knitting socks, I was not enjoying it because my thing is twisted. I have big hands and big feet, so I have to knit my socks pretty big, pretty long. But look at this. So here's the 9-inch circulars, and here's my hand. So whenever I knit, I'll show you. It's all twisted. So whenever I knit, I have to like hold it so delicately, and I have to knit like this. And when I first started, I was holding, I was like, ugh, like holding it so tight that my hands were cramping, my fingers were cramping, and then like my thumb, like right here, was cramping so bad. And I was like, this is gonna give me carpal tunnel. I need to figure something else out. So I watched the Crazy Sock Lady. I love watching her podcast, but I watched her tutorial for her 9-inch circulars vanilla socks, and both the socks I've showed were vanilla socks. I don't know if I said that, but I watched her tutorial to figure out how to knit correctly without hurting myself, and I figured it out. And I also figured out how to purl without making my hands cramp, which is great. So now I actually enjoy purling on the tiny little circular needles. So hopefully I'm going to be making a lot more socks in the future, and I'll share them with you guys. Let me know what you guys are making. Are you making socks? Have you ever made socks? What are you working on right now? And oh, I also want to talk about, I think at the end, so the Crazy Sock Lady, she always talks about like her books that she's reading and all that sort of stuff at the end, TV shows. I'm not watching any TV shows. I'm just watching a lot of podcasts. I like to keep stuff on in the background while I'm working, or while I'm cleaning or whatever. So I like a lot of podcasts. But I'm reading 2 different books right now, or I'm listening to the audiobook, because I think I said in the beginning, but I am really interested right now in like self-help and mental health, and just trying to work on myself and grow as a person. And so I wanted to start reading more self-help books, but sometimes they're boring. So I started listening to audiobooks, and I've listened, let's see, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Libby app. It's a free app where you can borrow books, like audiobooks and then ebooks, through the libraries. I think it's like through your state. But so I'm reading, the first one I started reading is called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Let's see if I can show you. So I'm basically 75% way through it. Daring Greatly. Okay, I've got all these smudges on my screen. Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. This one is actually really good. It says, how the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead. So it's all about like vulnerability, and she talks a lot about like shame and overcoming your emotions that keep you locked inside. It's really good. And then I started, the second one I'm reading is called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. So I'm not that far through this one, but The Power of Habit. I'm only 13% through this one, but this one is actually so good. Well, I wouldn't say it's like so good, but it's really interesting. If you're interested in habits, like if you've read Atomic Habits, this is similar, but I feel like this goes more in depth. It says the power of habit, why we do what we do in life and business. And it's just about like why we actually do things and how we can change our habits and yeah, all that. It's very interesting. So yeah, those are the two I'm listening to right now. And I think that that is all that I have to share with you. Let me double check. Yeah. So if you've come this far through the video, thank you for watching. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but you know, I'm excited to see where this goes, and I just want to have fun with this and just share what I'm making and maybe meet some other people and create a little community over here. If you have any feedback on my videos on how I can do better, or any ideas of what you think I could do a video on or talk